week of vitriolic speech, and a lot of people say that doesn't work. You know, you get more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. And my retort to that is it's never been tried in mass. Never been tried in mass. People speaking the truth totally unapologetically right to someone's face and calling people on their own bullshit. It's never been tried. It's never been done. If you could show me an instance in history where it has been done, I'd like to see it, and I'd like to see you document it, because to my knowledge, it's never even been tried, let alone been done. So, if more people spoke the truth and actually called other people on their crap, things might change. But unfortunately, most people are too timid to do that. They're too afraid of what other people think of them. You know? They care more about somebody else's opinion of them than what the truth is. And they think that they're going to baby spoon feed this to people. And it'll take 10,000 years for somebody to get the ABCs of this. Well, we don't have time for that, ladies and gentlemen. We haven't had time for that. You know? So, I also stand by my contention that more people need to put this boldly and even rashly into the face of people who continue to support human slavery, and explain to them what they're helping. Help them see it in a clear way, even if they're not ready to hear that truth. Make them see it. Hold a mirror up to their face and force them to see it. It's never been done. It's never been tried because people are too timid to even try it. So, you know, I think where we're at in the level of transgression that we have fallen into as a species, sweet-talking people is not the answer. That's going to make people think that what they are doing and have been continuing to do is okay, which it is not. So I like the vitriolic approach, and I have no intention of changing it. I think it's more effective when people hear when somebody is righteously outraged by what other people are doing and the way that they are thinking that is destructive to the ends of freedom and justice in our world. I think that has much more effect than being timid and shy and, oh, you might want to look at how you think about this. No. Be bold. Get up in people's faces with the truth. That's why the lie is totally dominating the world, because it's bold and in people's face. You know, and the lie speaks to people with a sweet voice. You know, it tells them what they want to hear and pats them on the head, and people fall into it. They love it. They can't get enough of it. You know, you look at a television news program. These people all get dressed up and do their hair so nicely, and they dress in their suit and their business suit, and, you know, they get up there and, you know, they tell people a whole crock of dung is what they do. Poisonous sewage comes out of their mouth that can only do bad things that are destructive to human beings. But they tell people it with a pleasing voice and a nice smile on the face. You know, a nice crap-eating grin on the face. And people just eat it up with a spoon and slurp it up with a straw. Well, I think the approach toward telling the truth should not be like that. We need to get up in people's face with the truth so that they cannot refuse to see it. So that it will be put up there and spoken in a totally unapologetic manner by those who know. And that's all the universe is asking us to do. It's not asking us to make that decision for other people as to whether to accept the truth or not. It's asking us to tell people how it really is. And then their karma is whether to accept it or not. So I'm not interested in sweet-talking anyone. People say I do a lot of browbeating. You're damn right I do. The truth remains the truth no matter how it's said to people. It can be Again, whispered in your ear by a soft-spoken seductress, or it could be shouted through a bullhorn by a guy with a loud, raspy voice 3 inches from your ear. Nothing's going to change except your reaction or receptivity to it. That's it. And that's all in the ego. That's all rooted in the ego, my friends. Whether you hear someone screaming at the top of their lungs, 2 + 2 = 4, just because you don't like how the message is delivered makes no difference as to the veracity of the message, whether it is true or not. And that's all that ultimately matters. And yes, that is all that ultimately matters, is whether it is true or not. Not how it is spoken, and not even whether it is received or not. Again, that is the individual's karma that wants to reject truth. That's not my business. That's your business. That's their business. It's each individual's business, whether they want to recognize and understand what's really going on and come onto the side of the truth and be a part of that, the unfolding of that force, or whether they want to keep doing the same thing that they've done and keeping the truth suppressed. The ego has everything to do with the perception of information. So, I totally am not for the method of placating the ego. The ego has to be broken down. And that's, vitriol means acid. Acid wears things away. It makes things become dissolved. The ego needs to be dissolved. The force that doesn't want people to admit truth, that doesn't want people to admit that they are wrong. That's the egoic mind. We are not doing anyone any service by approaching people with this new age attitude of everything is good. No, everything is not good. There is good and there is evil. There is right and there is wrong. A lot of this new age bunk teaching moral relativism, I'm so sick of it. There's no such thing as right or wrong. Those are divisive. Those are dualistic. Bullshit. Okay? And I call you on that bullshit. It's nonsense. This is moral relativistic nonsense put out by occultists who are behind a lot of New Age teachings. Dark occultists. And you have to understand that there's a big deception going on with a lot of the information that's being put out by this community that doesn't even understand the myth, the total lie of authority. They'll still tell you with a straight face, people in this movement, that there's such a thing as political authority and jurisdiction. And, the claims of ownership made by other people on you are valid. They won't talk about sovereignty because they're cowards. They're cowards. No, they won't talk about sovereignty because that challenges Big Daddy, and his bullwhip. We can't do that. These people disgust me. They're cowards and they're deceivers. So, look forward to a scathing presentation at the Free Your Mind Conference on the New Age movement from me. Again, that's going to be my topic. Breaking down the deception and lies of the New Age movement. Another thing I want to comment on is that I constantly hear this statement over and over again when I, see people maybe discussing the information that I put forward on the internet. I hear the phrase, well, there's nothing new here. He's not telling anybody anything radically new or, that this is so, earth-shattering in its differentness than other things that I've heard before. Yeah, who claimed that it was? When did I ever make the claim? I'm going to bring forward so much new stuff that no one in the world has ever heard before. Radically new concepts that, you'll have no idea what I'm even talking about at first. When did I ever make that claim that I had brand new information? There's nothing new. You ever hear the phrase, folks, there's nothing new under the sun? Nothing new is going on here on the earth. It's all the same old crap. There's nothing new. Same crap, different day. Slavery going on the earth. What new information am I going to bring forward that hasn't already been said or heard 1 billion or more times? I'm a collector of information, and I organize it into a stepwise progression that is digestible, that is more readily and easily digestible by people, so that they can process it in a linear, sequential progression. That is the point of what on earth is happening. Not to bring up anything new, because I couldn't bring up anything new. There is nothing new for me to bring up. The information that I deal with is timeless. It is cosmic in nature. It is inherent to the fabric of reality. That's it. So how are you going to make something new from that? It's people who are just morons. I mean, let's just call these people what they are. They're idiots, they're morons, they're brain dead. They don't understand the concept that there's nothing new under the sun. They don't get that. They don't understand what that phrase even means. And they think, oh, well, because I'm just starting my awakening, I'm going to go here and it's going to present something so radically different and new to me that I've never heard before. Well, don't necessarily expect that. Maybe you will learn something new, maybe you won't, from what I'm saying. But I never claimed that I was presenting anything new. I never even claimed that this was my information to begin with, because it isn't. This information is the birthright of humanity, period. It's the birthright of free beings everywhere. Not even just humanity. So, I never made that claim that I present new information. So I don't know where this concept even comes from or why people expect that I'm putting forward anything new. When I go and listen to a researcher online, I don't expect him to put out new information. I want to hear his take on what's really going on, which is the same thing that's always been going on here, at least since human beings have been here. And it's called slavery. The only thing that would be new is if we got out of it. Got out of our self-imposed chains. So, to all the people who make this ass-brained comment, there's nothing new here. All I have to say is wonderful work, genius, brainiac. You figured it out. There's nothing new here. Exactly. Great detective work. Very proud of you. So, let's jump to a different topic. Before we get into the main two topics that I really want to talk about. Big news. Two big pieces of news. And, I have to at least put some kind of a mention on the show, on the podcast about these two pieces of news. The Pope resigned. I mean, this, never happens. I mean, this is huge in the world of organized religion. And I'm not going to say much about it other than, whoever doesn't think that this has something huge to do with child pedophilia, and, crimes against children in some form or fashion, again, that's an incredibly naive point of view. There's no way the Pope is resigning from his post, okay? Unless something gigantic is in the undercurrents, and guaranteed it has to do with sex crimes in the Vatican. Guaranteed. I mean, and that's my whole take on that. And anybody with half a brain in their head has to realize that's got to be what this is about. So I'll throw that speculation out there, even though obviously that's not proven as of right now. We know enough about his history, involved in the cover-up of sex crimes and moving, the parishioners of certain parishes to other parishes to go and do the same crimes against children in other places where they weren't known, and work with families behind the scenes, giving them, payment settlements to settle out of, court so they wouldn't bring up these priests on charges. It's disgusting what this pederast cover-upper, at the very least, if not a pederast himself, has been doing throughout his history, his career in organized religion. So, and, you know, whoever's offended by that, go right ahead and get as offended as you want about, you know, your nonsensical, esoteric version of exoteric, version of Christianity, which has nothing to do with true Christianity.